ठीक है, नॉर्मल है। सत्ताईस कर दी।
अभी तो उन्होंने मान लिया, उन्होंने कहा कि जरूरत है नहीं इसमें, दूसरी की एक से काम हो जाएगा बढ़िया।
Good morning to everyone. So, I am Haradhan Biswas, academic counselor of IGNOU. So, today the subject is MMPC 012, block number 3, strategic management. So, I will start from block number 2, that is unit number 6, that is our internal environmental analysis. Then after that I have to go through the block number 3, that is unit number 7 and 8. Unit number 7 is your business level strategy and unit number 8 is your competitive strategy. There are 3 units I have to cover today. First of all, as usual, I have to briefing some of the idea, give a outlines, then after that I have to discuss about the detailing of the units. Now, first internal analysis. I refer to our earlier sessions where we have discussed about the external analysis. Now, we have to discuss about the internal analysis. So, before that, from the internal analysis, what are the things we have to achieve? So, as per the contents of the units, that is your first things, the resource based views, then the critical success factors, value chain framework, comparison standards, and lastly it is very important, that is SOW OT analysis, SWOT. In short, it is a SWOT analysis. S stands for strength, W for weakness, O for opportunity, and T for threats. So, that analysis is very important. As an organization, we have to see the internally where the loopholes, where the problems is going on, that analysis is very important. And internal factors evaluations, what are the internally the factors going on, that part also to be seen before taking a final strategy programs. So, now as per the definition that the changes, any changes in the environment may create the opportunities. If any changes we have to see, definitely there should be some opportunity will be there. So, that part we have to analyze and try to identify where the opportunities are lying. So, it is important for this strategy making, which aims, what is the aim? Basically aim to producing a good fit between the nation's resource capability and the external situation. So, we have to see the 2 reference points, one is what are the resources we have, and at the same time what are the external factors are there. See, in between we have to take some decisions which are to be a best fit. That is the basic idea for the analysis part. So, internal analysis, it helps for understanding the organizational capability, from where we can understand the capability, and which influences the evaluation of the successful of strategies. However, looking at strategic development for a different perspectives and exploitations, how to exploit the what are the resources, that is the important part. Then it becomes important to understand these capabilities. There are two perspectives we have to see together. This is called a resource based view of the strategy. It means what are the resources we have and how best we can utilize it, optimum utilizations and taking a good decisions. Now, see, we have to go in details little bit what is the resource based view. There are different models are there, so many models. It is a form of knowledge about which the members of the organizations are unaware and unconscious, because the knowledge are hidden conditions. So, we have to explore and try to understand what are the knowledge we have which are already unaware to everybody in terms of your skill, in terms of resources, materials, so everything. So, RBV resource based view, that model is centered on the concept of the resources, basically it is based on the resources. That is the key supervising the organizational performance. A resource is something which an organization owns and accessibles, or we can say it can be developed to formulate and execute strategies for the improving the effectiveness and the efficiency of a organizations. Now, there are three types of resources. Which are the things? That is one of the things, the resources is assets, capabilities and competencies. There are three resources as we derive, which have been identified under the resource based view models through this of the organizations with the organization. Some model is required when we are analyzing the part, any analysis we should have some analysis, some tools and tackles, some the methods is required. So, that is the RBV is very important. This helps the organizations to develop the understanding these three type of resources. From this understanding we can, as I said, assets, capability and your finally your what are the competencies. There are three things we can very easily examine and identify it. So, if we go in further details as is assets, what is the meaning, basically the assets. Customers with the valuable goods and services are called the assets, because we can say the what are the our permanent customers, that is also our assets, and we are likely to be so many customers are coming. So, how best we can attract them, that is also a part of your asset. You have to develop lot of asset things. So, there are two things, one of the tangible assets, another is your intangible assets, that I will show you after that. Some of the chart is there. So, what are the tangibles and what are the intangibles? It is a brand name, suppose for the company is a brand name, it is a very important resource for any organizations, even it is intangibles, because the name itself sometimes the people are attract, the customers are attract to buy the product, to purchase the product based on these brandings. So, that is a some sort of your, I can say it is your tangible assets branding. Now, as per the chart, as per the tables, there are some of the examples of the tangible assets. Organization's property and the equipment, that is all are tangibles. What are the assets that we have in the organizations? Intangible assets are basically brand names and which is trusted. Some examples, Walters or Boosters, we know the air conditioning company, these all are very important, everybody knows. Based on these we can understand that that product should be very good. Now, another thing is the patents, what type of patents the company is utilizing, that is basically the tangibles. Now, in terms of intangible assets, knowledge workforce. It cannot see what are the people are, what type of knowledge they have, cannot identify easily, but it is intact. You cannot see it as a knowledge, particular person, particular worker, employees, what type of knowledge he have until and unless we interact with him. So, that type of asset is basically your intangible assets, which are physically visible. You can see it, you can assets, buildings, and what about the machineries, tools and tackles, these all are tangibles. But knowledge is basically your intangibles assets. Now, distribution networks, that is also a part of your tangible assets, and vice versa in other way. Robust organizational structures, that organizational structures it cannot see, suppose senior manager, regional directors, or whatever the things, the structure is given, different staffs are working, that structure you cannot see, it is invisible, but that is the assets are, we can say, the intangible assets. So, there are so many things are there. If the question is coming in the exam or anything, how to derive, how to distinguish between tangible and intangible. So, that time you have to give a that type of examples. For another example, I can say that the IT network systems, that is you can see it, LAN connection is there, there are so many different ports are there, electronics equipments are there. All these things are basically your tangible assets, that assets are tangibles, you can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it. But another thing is organizational culture. Culture you cannot touch it, you cannot see it, that culture is your intangible assets, because you cannot see it, but you can feel it. Some culture is good, behavior is good, people are discussing with a very good atmospheres. So, this business atmospheres and the business cultures. So, culture is your intangible assets. Now, after that we have to see the capabilities. Now, capabilities are basically the organizations need to develop the skills, what type of skills you have, that is your capacity, this is your capability of your organizations. And experience suggests that the similar assets to different organizations may add value of the different amount of themselves. Now, competencies. Now, coming to try to understand what are the competencies. It is ability to perform. You are able to perform the particular tasks or not, that is the basically your competencies. Now, critical bundle of skills that an organization can draw and to distinguish itself from the competitors. Now, see some of the strategic importance of the resources. First thing is available resource, physical resource, human resources, financial resources, intellectual capabilities, capacities, these all are your important resources. Now, if we put in a tabulated forms where the same as the competitors or the easy to imitate or greater than competitors or the difficulty of to the intimated. There are some resources and competencies you can see. What are the resources? That is the threshold resources, and there is the unique resources, and the competencies in terms of competencies where the threshold competencies and your core competencies. So, that is some sort of chart is there. Now, see some of the threshold resources and unique resources and core competencies, as I said, that is a core competence is where again it is categorized, that is a scarcity. The suppose for the raw materials it is not available in the store, inventory problems. So, scarcity is very important part. Then durability, that item, that the raw materials, how much it is the product, how much it is durability, is it robust systems or not. Then your superiority, and in the market you are, where the position you have, your product, how far it is good and compared to the others. So, another resources immobilities are there, that is a collectively referred as a VIRO framework. That defined framework is there. There V stands for valuable, R for rare, I for immutables, and O for organizers. Now, that flow chart, that structure is given, that is some of the resource based V models, the model is given, your tangible and intangible, which we have already discussed, that is given, then your some of the valuable, rare, costly to imitate, and your immovable side, that are the organizations, and finally the competitive advantage and external environment in terms your, it is already as an input of your external environments. Now, see the CSF, that is your critical success factor. Now, we have to discuss about some of the factors, which are the factors are there. So, critical success factors are those which contribute to organization's success in a competitive environment. So, organization needs to improve on them, since poor results may lead to declining the performance. For example, if we start the things without any strategy or any deciding, there is no deciding factors, then definitely our performance level will be declined. So, few general sources of critical success factors that have identified based on the imperial research, and they are follows. What are the imperial research? That is our industry characteristics. This is for airline industries, fuel efficiency, load factors, and the excellent your reservation systems are critical basically. Now, see the competitive positions. Critical success factors for the industry, which smaller players have to ensure for their success. Few big players added service features like door to door sample collections and for home delivery of the reports. So, this is a type of your resources, critical factors. The framework, which are we have already now discussed, what the framework, it is basically the guide for the analysis of organizations, and so the strength and weakness. As we said, any analysis you have to identify, you have to analysis means some you have to draw a line where you are now, which is your strength, what is the weakness of the company, that is why required for the analysis. This adds to the organizational financial performance, because if we have a good strength in the company, the performance will be good, in turns your profit will be good, the performance of a company will be, activity will be good. So, services is also very important, because procurement, technology development and human resource management, these all are the part of your services. Now, see some of the standard comparison standards. Now, I have to discuss about some of the standards. So, if we for the meaningful conclusion, what are the conclusion we have, because based on this we can identify which are the standards and where we are now. So, strength, calculation of the strength and the weakness very easily we can identify. So, the analysis should be supported by the appropriate standards for the comparisons. So, which our output, the reports, that should be supported by the standards, because it should not be below the standards. So, that part also to see. For example, industry norms, historical performance and the benchmarks. These are found useful for the internal analysis and your industry norms, historical comparisons and benchmarking. Now, as per the SWOT analysis, SWOT SWOT analysis, there are, as I said, the strengths, weakness, opportunity and the threats we are calculating. The SWOT analysis, it is summarized that the key issues from the external environment and the internal capabilities and the internal capabilities of an organization, those which become critical for strategic development. Now, there are so many comparisons as given, and weakness, what are the strengths, weakness and your opportunities and threats are already given, it is already tabulated. It is self explanations, and you can see from there where the things, learning from the mistakes, that is one of the strength points. Weakness as a your decrease in the productivity, that is nearly weakness. Opportunities may expand for the operations, is the analysis coming. So, you can expand accordingly. It means from this chart, it is just like a blueprint where you are, which are your organization's conditions. See, you are projected this way and highlighted the things, and which are the area has to be emphasized more, accordingly you have to act it. That analysis are basically importance of this analysis. Now, see the major strengths and weakness of the opposite organizations in the functional areas of the business. It involves the 5 steps: the list key internal factors, then assign the weight to each factors. With these factors, you have to wait for this factor. This factor is very, you have to prioritize. Basically, this is a number 1 factors, this is number 2 factors, number 3 factors, and what the degree of attention is required basically. Then assign a rating to each factors. You have to rate these factors, determine a weighted score, determine the total weighted score. So, from this it is involved, some of the steps are this, these following steps are involved. Then very easily you can categorize and you can pick up the major areas accordingly. Now, again some of the internal factor evaluation chart is given, and some matrix is given basically. They are the, what are the wages rating, as I said, there is tabulation forms, and the facts and figures are there, and you can easily analyze the things where the area are to be taken more interest, and out of the very grave situations which are the more attentions are required, that part is this. Now, explanation. Now, some of the your self questions are there, a type of questions from this unit it may come, and maybe you have to prepare for that. Explain and identify the type of resources, as I already discussed. What do you understand by the term critical success factors? Why is the resource based view important? That is the type of questions, and discuss briefly. There are so many questions are there, the type of questions based on these units. And the last, the question is very important, that is the SWOT analysis. Question may come like in this way, what are the SW analysis is required in the company, and whether the things we are identifying from there. Now, coming to our block number 3, that is the unit number 7, that is our business level strategy. Now, another unit to start. Now, first things, outline of the particular units, that is the first thing we have to identify the role of a cost of the business growth, overall cost of leaderships, differentiations, type of differentiations, cost of differentiations, advantages and disadvantages of the differentiations. and finally, the focus. Now, business level strategies are basically it is a set certain moves and the actions which are taken within the aim of the to provide the value of the customers, thereby it is developing your competitive advantage. It is in 1998 the books written by the Michael Porter, he has given these things, because we have to identify our target customers, the value, you have to give some value of the customers. Now, strategies usually occur in the organizations having multiple business, where each the business level strategies try to address the following issues. In every instance, in short I can say it, that is the SBU, in short the SBU, that is strategic business units, which suppose there are multi products you have. So, you have to see how best you can attract your customers, and you have to sell it out. So, that is the you have to, and at the same time you have to satisfy the customers that needs. So, products should be made based on the customers needs, their choice, their desires, which are the things. So, market survey, the motto should be there. Then this is one thing. The second thing is achieving an edge of the over the competitors, which are the market. There are so many market competitors are there. So, you have to have a top, your share market of the market should be at least some good percentage you should have, maybe 50%, 60% market you have to capture it. Otherwise, your production you cannot increase your productions. So, first things you have to target the customers, you have to satisfy the customers, and you expand accordingly. And another things, avoidance of the competitive disadvantages. So, you try, suppose there are 4 or 5 competitors are there, and you have to see where your loopholes, where the problems you are facing. So, try to avoid these things. So, as early as possible you have to sort out your problems, you have to, so that you can in the market you are always have a competitive market conditions. You are a good play, you have to play in the market in a very good manner. Your product should be good, your customers are fixed. So, this is the idea behind it. So, that is why the business level strategy is always required, and you have to do for all the units. You cannot see, okay, this unit is good, I have to prioritize these units. No, you have to give equal opportunity and equal conditions you have to require. So, anyhow, now just the role of a cost of the business growth, that is also very important. Growth is important because then only you can survive in the growth. It is needs to make some profit. At the same time, growth are, suppose your company is growing, your product is growing, market is available, your production, but your profit margin is declining, then you cannot see it as a growth, because at the parallel you have to see your profit margin also to be parallelly should be also that curve should be increased way. Then you can say overall both the way your company is also growing and your profit margin is also growing. That the idea you have to have a. When the revenue earned, many things revenue earned, that is the things. What are you are buying, even maybe in the raw material side and other need utilizations, inventory controls, everything you have to see in a very strategic manners. So, a large volume of operations, it is reduces the cost per unit. It is actually some phenomena basically. Suppose if your production margin is good, for example, I can say there is China. China is mass productions. They have that philosophy they have to given. The production is very good, huge. So, definitely marginal cost will be high. That is why they can reduce the cost of the units. If they product for 10 units, what are the cost? If they product for 100 units, naturally the cost will be reduced. So, that is the philosophy, that type of strategy is taken by the China. That is why they have to overall throughout the world they have captured all these things. The production is very high. So, that means we can conclude and we can give a line outline is these things. The large volume of operations reduces the cost per unit. Okay. I think now I can go for another part, that is as per the Michael Porter's 1998, what he has written. As per according his what he says, the prerequisites, the cost leadership, basically cost leadership purpose. Suppose you have a try to be a good leaderships, but cost leaderships means in the organizations you are reducing your cost. Everywhere you have to viewpoint is cost, how to reduce the cost areas. So that things Porter has given some of the ideas, he has given some of the rules. Aggressive constructions of the efficient scale facilities, that is one. Number two, he has a vigorous pursuit of the cost reduction of the from the experiences. Here the point is to be noted, means Porter is saying, when your experiences you are going, suppose last year, previous year, 5 years before, what type of cost you have spent for your this organizations, they have to learn from there, and you try to reduce the cost in particular current years. Then only you can improve the things. So means from the experiences you can reduce your cost reductions can be achievable. Then he also says tight cost and overhead control. He has also given one of the formula. Tight cost means everywhere when you are making any proposals, you have to have a carefully see that these where the cost are should not be overshoots, but unnecessary unwanted cost should not be there. You try to be optimistic way, you have to very comprehensive way, you have to prepare your proposals, so that where the tight cost is there. If it is required 1 lakh, you could not go for the above this thing, below 1 lakh you have to pay it. It should not exceed 1.2 lakhs or 1.3 lakhs. So that is the basically your estimations. You have to be very careful about your estimations, where it should not be overlap. It should not be over. So that is the one of the point. And overhead control means control is also is a part of these things. So this is the point. Another point is also saying avoidance of marginal customer accounts. That is also one of the important part. And finally, he says cost minimizations. So if we follow all these 4-5 points, as I said, as per the Porter's, actually I am not saying, basically it is written by the Porter, Michael Porter. He has written in 1998, the books is written. If we follow these things, definitely we have a very cost leadership skill, we can produce the organizations, and definitely it will be profitable. Now, I have given some of the tabular forms, what are the differentiations and overall cost leaderships. So here actually differentiation in the means you have to refer, there are two variables, based on these variables you have to compare the things, they have to identify the wider differences basically. So industry wide and specific segment wise, that is the part is there. And finally, you have to focus on that. When you identify the differentiations and what are the cost is involved, then you have immediately you have to focus on this. So it is a it is generic strategies, because strategy is very vast things. Lot of definitions and different people are saying in different way, but generic way the strategies are basically there are 3 things. First things you have to generate differentiations, one part means you have to compare the things where you can cost cutting the things, and finally overall cost which we have already budgetary part, then you have to fit it, best fit you have to require and focus on these things. So that is the basically this logic are everywhere the fit for the any things, any type of logistics, any kind of strategies. Now differentiation strategies involved, now come details I have to say for more about the differentiations, is to be the successful, because suppose if you are want to be a successful company, or so differentiation strategy is very much needed. A company must have a top layer team of your product designers. Those who are product designers are there, they have to compare all these things. They have to making a personal as well as high quality products and the services. It may require lot of references, lot of survey, lot of analysis, definitely it is required. So, another part is heavy investment in branding initially, because investment branding is required very much, otherwise people will do not know. And in the present scenario, we see the present world where the scenario is going on. You should have you can take a support from the social medias, lot of social media is there, and branding is required, so that you can target the customers and you can recognize the product, your product. As you seen through these social media, time to time lot of advertisements also coming in the Facebook and your Googles, Instagram. There are a lot of social media everywhere. Through this way you can see in between lot of advertisements are coming. It is required for any companies. So that only you can slowly awareness, you can develop the awareness of the customers, and finally your branding also. Now the requirement is needed based and depends on the organization's position and the market. I cannot say that every company is required for the branding. No, it is depend on the position, what type of product, where you are, what type of business you have, based on this. Here actually I can give you one of the example, that is for example the Samsung, Apple's, there are mobile companies. Initially they have invested very for the branding. Now you see they are not required for the branding for the Apples. We have never seen any advertisement of the Apples, but as soon as they launch any product, you see the worldwide within an hour that particular suppose for example 12 iPhone 12 or 13, immediately it is sold out. Why it has happened? Because the customers already knows the branding is already done. They have initially they have research work, branding, huge money they have invested. So that is the actually give you some of the examples what the way I have to proceed. So first things you have to reduce the threats arising from the substitutes. So you have to somehow reduce the threats, develop a differential advantages. Then only, and what are the barriers? What type of barriers for the newcomers? Because sometimes you have a product, you are already first year, second year is going on, your market value is good, you are in the market very good, share market, everything is good, but now newcomers has come in the market, they are also launching the same product. Then you have to be very careful about it. Maybe you have to increase the quality, or maybe you have to reduce the price. There are a lot of things are there. So you have to again modify your strategies, and you have to do it. Now again some of the your differentiation part is the tangible and intangible components are there in the differentiations. Again for the tangible part, what are the things, that is your design, packaging, style, quality, these all are your tangibles, because your product is theirs. You have to take a study what type of design it should be, how it looks, so that customer can be attracted. Packaging is very important, because packaging is very initially it will feel happiness of the customers. When you unpacked anything, suppose your product is there, so packing is geared to some of the pleasure in the mind. Yeah, yes, the companies, how nicely they have packed it. So it is also a significant point. Styles, then your quality is another point. Intangible part is image, brand, reputation of the company, customer preferences, is all are your intangible part. If the question is coming in the exam, suppose for example, describe the differences between tangible and intangible of component of the differentiations, then you have to give a table and you have to write accordingly. Now cost of the differentiations, it is because you see any testing or any research or any new things, any analysis part, definitely you have to require some of the expert, because you have to hire some of the expert peoples. So, it is some of the cost will increase, because it will increase the expenditure of the training cost, because you have to train the peoples accordingly, you have to skill them. So, definitely some cost will be increased, that you have to consider it. Some advertisement cost is also to be increased. You have to spend for the promotion purposes and the product purposes. As we see in the new movies are coming in the market, immediately they have to promote the things, lot of investment they are doing it. They know maybe 300 crores or 400 crores will be premiere show, they will come, but initially they have to invest in the things. Assumption is this, definitely that movie will be very, that is a product of the particular things, we can say it. So, use the more expensive materials to improve the quality of the product. Sometimes you have to use it. You have to use it a very good quality of the your product, then it will be create some impression of the customers. Yes, they have no compromise, there is no compromise between the product, at least the quality of the work. Now, advantage and disadvantage of the differentiations, again as I said, there are training costs will be high initially. So, there are increase the brand loyalty, it is advantage points. Disadvantages is basically your excess of the amount, excess amount will be there, loss due to differentiations. Now, focus. Now, focus is basically the cost focus and your differentiation focus. There are two focuses there. According to Thomson's and the Artigland, he is given the geographic uniqueness by the specialized needs is using the product, or by the special product attributes that appeal only to niche members. So, and another is the strategy, focus strategy, it can be effective in certain situations, only they are that is a market segment large enough to be profitable, market segment has good growth potentials, then market segment is not significant to the success of major competitors, then your efficient resources and high cost are difficult to the competitors to meet the specialized needs of the niche. Focusers is able to choose the from different segments. This is all are the some of the your strategy, focus strategy. Again, some of the advantages there, because it is defined against the porters competitive forces, threat from the producers producing the substitute products is reduced, and focus strategy if combined with the low cost and the differentiation strategy, it would increase the market share and profitability. Some of the advantages given. Disadvantages also there. The disadvantages associated with the focus strategy can be that the market segment may not be large enough to generate the profits, that is one of the point. Then your competitions may take over the largest the target segment only. So, this is the way some of the disadvantage points, and that I can skip the things. Okay. Now, some of the keywords are there, cost leaderships, differentiation, what are the differentiations, focus, these all are available in the study materials, in IGNOU study materials. There also you can also go through this, because sometimes the definitions, it will be very helpful for the definitions, you have to derive the things, you can expand the things. So, key notes are very important. Now, type of the questions, and I mean what type of questions from this unit, that is your discuss the concept of the cost leaderships, as I said, explain the concept of the differentiation strategy, illustrate your answer with the suitable examples. Suppose you are the business strategics of your company, which is into manufacturing the FMGCs. So, what should be your differentiation strategy? Looking at the present trends and discuss. So, in focus the another question is in focus of the strategy relevant in the present context. So, these are type of typical questions are there which are covered the particular units. Now, I have to go for unit number 8 last unit, that is your competitive strategy. Now, see the outline of the particular competitive strategy, that is your how to formulation of the competitive strategy, framework for the competitor analysis, then moves, different moves, dimension of the competitive strategy, and fragmented industries and the competitive strategies, emerging industries and the competitive strategy, declining the industries and the competitive strategies. These all are the structure of the particular unit. Now, see let us see the business needs to understand the how generic competitive strategies can be formulated to tackle with the competitors. So, how to tackle with the competitors, that is the main thing. They need to know what specific decisions should be taken while the formulating a competitive strategy. So, you have to formulate some of the things. Now, here in this case again the Michael E. Porter, he says, has described the generic competitive strategies to deal with the competitive forces. All are consistent in nature and thus they are called generic strategies, because it is a consistent nature, that is why it is a generic strategies. So, these strategies help the organizations in different situations to develop the appropriate competitive strategy. So, we have to develop the things. Now, formulations of the competitive strategy, how to formulate the strategies. So, competitive strategy may be explicit or implicit in nature. There are two things are there. Now, try to understand what is the explicit strategy. It is developed through a planning process considering the external environment, and implicit strategy is developed through the activities of different functional units. So, that is the your implicit strategy. So, one thing we are getting from the planning process considering the external environment, that is why it is explicit strategy, and in this case implicit strategy internal activities. So, that is the way we can understand, keep in mind. Now, the combination of explicit and the implicit strategies both we are now combining the things. It can be the best options as it gives the direction to the organizations to achieve its objectives. Developing a competitive strategy should be explained some of the following way. We can say the goals of the organizations, ultimately the end points, the policies to achieve the goals, what are the policies are there to achieve these things, that is also important. And then for these things some diagram is there, the will, sub will of the competitive strategy some gives there, where the goals inside and ultimately target point, and it is encompasses where it is the finance of the control, then your product range, target market, marketing, sales, logistics, manufacturing, workforce and material procurement and R&D, research and development. So, all these things are the competitive part of your competitive strategy. You should have, basically any organizations should have this type of things, components are to be required, then only we can say the company are competitive company. So, some of the factors for determining the formulation, because during the formulations you may be face some of the factors are there to determine the thing, because to formulate the things for competitive strategies. What are the factors? The competitive strategy, what are the factors? Again there are four some factors are, again the factors are also categorized, some internal factors and some of your external factors. I mean considering the environments, internal environments and your external environments. So, internal factors basically your strengths, weakness, you have to see it, because if you have a good strength then this is good, you can go ahead. If the weakness is there, then first you have to rectify, you have to rectify your weakness, then only you can go for the furthers. Some of the core values, that is also important. Now, coming to, we can see the external part. External part means basically your what type of opportunities in the market, what are the threats are there, and expectation of the society. So, what the society is expected from our product. Suppose we are launching some of the product in the market, but that product, how much they are accepted, it is really accepted by the society or not, or rejected by the society or not. So, that is a part of your external environment. Now, some of the competitive strategy, it is consistent, some of the testing is required, the internal consistency, environmental fit, then your resource fit, implementations. So, above all these things, it will help to formulating the effective competitive strategies. So, all this testing procedure which I described, that is internal consistency, environmental fit, resource fit, is all these process are, it will help for the your formulate, you have to, it is help for the formulating the competitive strategies. Some framework is there. So, for this competitive strategy, you should have some, you see the position of the company in the business, then your which manner it is maximizes the things, and the value positions, competitor analysis, and the major component of the strategy formulations, and needs of the perform for the competitive analysis. There are basically 4 components that should be covered for the competitive analysis part. Which are the 4 components? One of the your future goals, then your current strategy, assumptions, and capabilities. So, both the existing and the potential competitors should be analyzed. Some chart is given as a competitor analysis. It is also again see. So, we have to focus on, we have to see the current strategy, what are the current strategy, then capabilities, we have to see it, what are the assumptions you have, and finally your future goals. So, that is some of the components we can say for the competitive analysis. Now, moves, some of the competitive moves you see as a cooperative or non-threatening moves, another is your threatening moves, because the situation is like this. You are when you are in the market, maybe in the business, maybe very smooth, there is no competitions, no threat, maybe that type of conditions you have. But sometimes you can see your non-threatening moves, means cooperative, every company are cooperative, you have a merger or acquisitions or raw materials also available, there is no any problem you are facing to start your business or run the business. So, that is your basically cooperative or non-threatening, that there is no threats in the market. Another is threatening moves, because when you are launch this product, lot of competitors are there, your chances of losing the market. So, that is the conditions. So, that is why there are 2 moves are there, basically we can see there are 2 moves are can be faced. Now, each organizations, they have their own competitive strategies, every company have a different strategy they have, and different dimensions are there. So, some of the dimensions are basically the specializations, especially suppose for software company. So, definitely they have some specialized field is there. So, we can say this dimension there is a software company, and there is a branding, some advertising and all these things, this is the brandings, and the push by pull and selling, particularly push pull sellings are there. So, another dimensions of the companies. Another type of company, the distribution channels. So, this is the various dimensions are there. So, for example, Amazon's, Facebook, Flipkarts and all these things. These all are basically your, they have to take the distribution channels purpose, the service centers. They are servicing the things, distribute the things basically. So, different dimensions are there. Another thing, your quality of the product, that is also one of the your competitive strategy you have to see the dimension part. Then technological leaderships, so for example, Infosys, IBM, Wipro, these all are technological leaderships because they have a good technology, or ABB, Siemens, L&T, these all are technology leaderships. They have a good technology things. So, that is that dimensions that the companies. Apart from that, some vertical and integrations also there. Now, see the cost positions of the company, pricing policy, you have to, every product you have to tag some of the prices, the price tagging is very important, how much value you have to give. Then the main thing is relationship of the SEBs with the parent organizations. You have a parent company and you have a lot of subsidiaries companies are there. What type of relationship you have, that is also very important. This is another dimension is there, where how much, what type of good relations you have should have other units also. Then only you can have achieve the targets. Now, emerging industries and competitive strategy, you can see what are the emerging conditions. Because you see the some socio-economic developments are there. Now, the existing organizations are changing themselves. Lot of companies, they have to change their strategies, keeping on view of the market, keeping on view of the economy, keeping in view of the global scenario, global situations. So, the strategy is changing and they have to take these things. And now, some of the emerging sectors are very important, that is in the field of solar power. You see the power, the conventional powers through these coal industries or hydro, it may not be sustained, that type of sustainability may not be there, because the coal, one fine day coal will be shortage. So, that is why we have to explore the new things, that is solar energy, wind power, online gamings, OTT platforms and the social media platforms. These all are the present emerging scenario, emerging conditions. Everybody knows all these things. And the absence of the rules makes risks as well as of the opportunity, because sometimes from there the lot of opportunities also coming. Major competitive problems are preparing a set of rules so that the organizations can deal with the with it and become the successful. Main things, we are not focus on the policy making, that is important. Now, we see lot of YouTubes, Facebook, and you see the Instagram, lot of people are dumping, they are uploading their views, all these things, small videos. It is just like see abandoned situations are there. But problem is there is no policies, lot of duplicacies, hackings, disturbance of the peoples, and lot of corruption. I mean, lot of things are going on. I think that is also open to all, everybody knows the things. How it has happened? Because we don't have any policies. We don't have any policy how to restrict the things. So, that is the one of the area to be think of. This is a major problems. Now, some of the your diagrams are there, elements of the structural diagrams, same thing which I have already discussed, high things and your buyers, customers, you have to see it, their strategies. So, the diagrams are self-explanatory, some emerging industries conditions are given. Now, some of the generic flow, drivers, and your harvest strategy also. Already we are going for the harvest conditions, agricultural field, we are focusing on this thing, that is the new field are coming. where you can lot of things you have to do, because in our country, India is basically agricultural countries. 70% people are things are there, and we are exporting also lot of things. So we have to focus on this. Lot of development is also required from this area. So and then some of the uncertainty is also there. It is because of that sometimes you are the things, that is your declining the patterns and your reasons for the decline, exist barriers, rivals, and a lot of competitors are in the market, where there is a rule, no rule behind it. So this is the way given in the market, some leadership niche where the problems are there. Quick diversifications are also required. So that chart is also it is also available in the your GNU study materials. It is available there, no problem. You can download it and all these things. So some decline choices are there, and the market position based on this, where the strong, weakness, conditions based on this, you can also have a decide the thing. These are all deciding factors how to keep in your market positions. So some of the keywords are there, and then some of the important questions there from these chapter units. So competitive strategy question may come. How a competitive strategy formulated, कैसे formulated होता है इस बताओ. Explain the competitive analysis question may come. The different dimensions, and how can you formulate a competitive strategies, emerging industries and the decline industries, in like this way. This is your things are there. Now I think I can almost cover up the things. So today actually I have now covered up the unit number 6, internal analysis, then your business level strategies, and after that competitive strategies. So in the next session I have to cover up the block number 3, another unit is there, unit number 9, and then followed by the block number 4 we will start all these things. Right. So I think okay, thank you very much. Thank you all for patiently listening my sessions. Thank you very much.